Hey guys, join me today as I review some of the top food subscription websites and do my best to try and rank them from best to worst. So let's see how this goes. Now in the UK alone, 53% of households are now using food subscription boxes. And the Royal Mail is saying that this is going to be worth about 1.48 billion this year. So very popular, hopefully things that we can all learn from this as we go as well. Now don't worry, this is not a sponsored video, but just for a little bit of honesty, we already use Gusto, but just to kind of heighten the stakes a little bit and really back what I do for a living, which is web design, what we're going to do is I'm going to rank all of their websites and I'm going to look from a point of view of whichever one I think is the best from a ranking point of view, I'm going to switch to as well. Okay, now we do have some rules. I'm going to read these out to you, okay? So overall usability, obviously we need to take that into account. Feeling of credibility feels like a really, really important one, right? What's that overall sense of feeling that we get when we look at it? We've got quality of content. When I refer to content, I'm going to say imagery and the text. I think that's really key. And of course, overall appearance is a key one as well. And if we have time, I might do a little bit of bits I don't like. So we'll see how we go. Now, interestingly, I would say there's a lot of the websites I'm going to show you, I don't personally think are probably set up for desktop as much. I think they're probably very much focused on a mobile user. Probably get that when I start to share these desktop versions of the sites. There's a lot of white space, but not in a good way. And I do think that's probably because they're very much designed for mobile. But we're going to be reviewing this from a point of view of desktop. And hopefully there's just things that we can learn as we go. And if not, it's a little bit of fun for you all to see how they're ranked. One other thing just to note, we're going with a kind of classic S to F ranking, which everyone seems to be doing on YouTube, and I am joining in with. The first one we are going to look at is Gusto. I thought it was best to start with Gusto because it's the one that I know the best, right? Although interestingly, we never use the actual website, right? Because once you are with them, you just end up using the app. Everything I'm going to be doing today is very much reacting as if I'm a first-time user because I feel like that's the best way to try and take this in. I'm starting with Gusto for that reason because although I know them, there's some variations. So this feels really like I should be on a mobile site. It doesn't feel like it's probably as designed for desktop, and that's probably fine because they know their numbers, right? But here we go. So I guess from a color theory point of view, we've got this really hot red that's been pulled in, and then we've got this kind of bluey purple. Everything feels very condensed, very tight. That image feels kind of random and out of place. In all honesty, I feel like that could have been better planned into this. I think it's because we have all this white negative space around it. It'd be interesting to see what everyone else does with their opening folds. Obviously, we've got to kind of get started, which makes sense. And it's nice that we've got this little bit of text below it to try and get some micro content to say, don't worry, you can skip at any time. That's quite nice. Mouth-watering home cooked meals and overall pricing, I think makes sense because people might be very much a case of basing on pricing to start with. So it's nice that we immediately go in with that to say this is the overall price. Probably going to keep the user on the page a little bit longer. And we've got a nice benefits bar to say you can get 60% off your first order. So those make sense as well. I would argue that that could be better visually showcased, maybe on these imagery, but overall we're okay. We've got some photos of food and they do cycle through. Do they click? No. Okay. I don't really know what they are, but they all look nice. And I guess we've got some credibility building. Like that there is a great number, right? 143 million meals cooked and loved. That's pretty crazy. Never mind these numbers down here. So that's great. That's adding credibility straight away. It's nice to see an idea of what the box looks like. Although I will admit, my box has never looked like that in its life. It would be really weird if my food was overflowing in the box because then it wouldn't fit inside the box and it would all be dented. My food doesn't look like that when it comes out, but I appreciate they've tried to make that look particularly nice. So I'll let them off. Plan your meals, enjoy, fine. And then we've got a big call to action. Again, we're building credibility as we go. And then we've got some why Gusto, which is quite nice. So overall variety, we've got bullet points rather than big blocks of text. So we're making it really easy to digest the information. And then, see, this is more useful, right? So I actually have an idea of what the meals are now. This feels quite lost up here, I would say, because I don't know what they are. That's way more useful now that I can actually see what the meals are, especially if I'm like, oh, well, I don't eat so-and-so. It'd be nice for me to be able to flick through and then see some of the meals. I also admit I don't think my food's ever looked that good, but never mind. And then we've got references to the app, bottom of the page, a bit blunt. Okay, fine. Okay, let's go get started. Let's see what happens. Just realized I'm working from a twin mummy mug, so yes, enjoy that. Okay, so let's say we're buying for 2 people for ease. I'm going to put in a postcode. Right, yeah. Friday. Oh, front porch, yeah. So this all feels really easy to interact with. It's nice that, again, we're referencing the community on here. Select Fridays. And then again, this feels very much set up for a mobile user, right? All this random white space feels really unfinished as a page. Yeah, not great. I don't necessarily even know why I need this individual page if it's got such little information on, just allow me to go straight into the food. I'm not sure we necessarily need that extra page. And then going straight into meals. Again, it's interesting to see the difference between mobile and desktop here, but that's like, again, middle of the page, like a menu. It's almost like Deliveroo style when it pops up in the middle, which is fine. Again, very much designed for mobile, and they're just putting it in the middle. There's no real thought, I don't think, at all from a desktop user, which is fine. Those are quite nice. We're referencing out. We've got the nutritional information. I've got a nice ability to add to recipe. Quite good. Let's quickly just pick another couple. These all look nice. I'm not even going to read what they are, and then let's check out because I just want to see what happens. So I don't have to create an account, which is fine. It's already applied a nice little discount code for me, which is good. It's referencing the 60% discount. My delivery is free, and then in theory I can enter that information and get some payment. Got some nice credibility building going on as we go here. They've also stripped out the main menu, so I'm now very focused on just buying from this page, which I think is probably a really good idea. Lots of prompts, right? So like, you've only got 24 minutes to fill this in. Great way to keep me on the page. And it's also a nice little visual reference to say how far I need to go through. So I only need to do account, delivery, and payment. Obviously, I'm not going to do those sections now, but overall, fairly good. It's hard because it's the first one. I obviously do know Gusto fairly well. I don't think the overall design is brilliant, in all honesty. I think there's some hierarchy to this page that could be, especially that home page, could be much better considered. The overall usability felt really easy, right? So let's look at my grading. Overall usability, I think that was fairly good, right? We can probably get that a fairly good mark. It was fairly easy and intuitive to work with. Feeling credibility, actually, if I go off my rulings, they've got big numbers here. They've got credibility building with the reviews. They're showcasing a number of overall reviews. They're referencing the individual reviews of the meals as well. I think that's fairly good, so we'll give that. I think quality of content imagery. This sort of imagery is absolutely brilliant. This imagery is quite nice, and it's all about the finished item, which is nice. Text is okay. It's not amazing. It's fairly simple. I think the big area it gets let down is the overall appearance, right? It's fairly lacking. It feels a little bit basic, and as I've said a few times in the video, probably very much designed for a mobile, right? And they've just scaled this up for desktop. Feels like a loss. I'm probably going to mark this higher because of it, but it's somewhere between like a B and a C, I think. I think will be nice to begin with, and I'll give it a B. So let's carry on to the next one, shall we? We couldn't possibly do a food subscription box with website review without including HelloFresh, right? So we can't not have HelloFresh on here. So let's have a quick look at this one. Okay, so let's have a quick look. At least it feels a little bit better designed for desktop now. Get 60% off your first box again. That presumably is fairly standard, and I can lock the offer. So it's interesting on this one that these ones are very much like unlock your offer to get started, because they're obviously micro content is very much focused from a first timer, whereas the other one, Gusto just said get started. So it's interesting to see that difference. I think I prefer get offer, but again, I guess they're testing this and seeing what happens. This one again appears like it's much cheaper. I think the other one was $2.99, so this appears cheaper. I feel like that is a little lost and a little bit strangely centrally aligned on its own, but I guess that could be highlighted a little bit more. Menu seems okay. Let's have a quick look. So fresh from the gram. So they've decided to go with credibility from a point of view of showcasing people using it straight away. And it's quite interesting the different take that they've got on this. So lots of people focused on this one, also people interacting, eating or making, and they're showing that side of it. They seem to be very focused on that, rather than if you looked at Gusto, is very much focused on the end product, like this is what you're buying. So that's what's quite interesting. How it works, again, we're referencing it in a fairly visual manner. I feel like these blocks probably weren't meant to be used for this, and they've recreated that. I think that's okay, but it's not great. I feel like that could be much better designed and highlighted out to be like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a much more visual way that could be done. And then again, it feels like this information is kind of the same as the bits above, but okay. I don't get to see any of the finished food. Okay. Let's unlock this offer, shall we? Again, clearly designed for mobile, but fine. Number of people 2, meals per week 3. Yeah, let's go for it. Oh, here's some other information. This is quite nice. Let's look at this. What kind of recipes do we want? Oh, okay. Let's go with family meals, shall we? Give me my promotional code straight away. Okay, let's just go with that. Select to see what happens. Now, interestingly, I have to create my account straight away. I guess that's slightly different to what Gusto did, which is Gusto was just like, hey, pick your meals and then you can set all this up afterwards. It's interesting that you'll see on this particular option that I have to register my information, my address, and then it actually says I have to check out before I can even select a meal, which is a little bit random. I guess it's a great way to get their information off me straight away. But from a user perspective, I want to see the quality of the meals before I sign up for it, and they've not done a great job of that. They've not really shown me the options for my food. They've not really referenced any of that. And actually, this reminds me why we never signed up for HelloFresh in the first place, because I had no idea what meals I was going to be potentially getting. So this feels like a little bit of a fail. I don't really want to go through the register address and check out just to be able to select meals, especially just because it's for this video. So this doesn't feel like a great win, in all honesty. Again, they must be doing well. People are obviously signing up for it. It feels like an unusual way to do things. I also just don't think they've done enough salesmanship overall to get me into this point with the variety of foods and the overall credibility compared to what Gusto did. So, we don't really have a reference to the number of people that have bought this. There's no reviews anywhere. We see any reviews anywhere? I'm gonna have to go hunting for them if I do. I mean, HelloFresh, right? They must be doing something right, but it's not the website. So yeah, I'm going to give this, I don't want to be too harsh. Again, there's a box there. I know they do this to make the boxes look great, but I don't think it's not how the box is going to come right. It would be ridiculous. Everything would be damaged. But it ain't great, especially compared to the B that we've given to Gusto. I'm going to give this an E. Feels harsh. Yeah, I don't think this is great. Sorry about that, guys. Now, before we go any further, if you guys have any topics that you want me to rank on websites that you've seen, drop a comment below and maybe give it a like as well, and we can definitely do that. Okay, Sunbasket. Now, I've never actually heard of this until I started researching for this video, and these guys seem to be popping up everywhere, lots of adverts for them. I thought we'd check them out. Now, these are an American company. I'm not going to feature loads of American ones, but this seemed to be the number one in America. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, let's have a quick look through. So I think overall design automatically now just feels a lot better. This does feel a little bit more designed for desktop, right? Kind of a little bit of personality in the typography that they've chosen. The yellow's quite nice. They're using the yellow fairly sparingly to grab attention, so activate our offer. Overall pricings on them get started. Feels a lot nicer than what we've seen on the other ones. Again, credibility building, rated top 10, number one meal for healthy eating, best for variety, and then the credibility. Surprised they've not included logos there, but See, this is a much nicer way of explaining how it works. We've got numbers on here to show the overall order. They're more self-contained imagery, so they fit nicer. I do like the way that plate fits in there. The imagery is a much better representation of the point of what we're trying to get across here, and then a nice order now. That works really nicely for me. Choose easy or easier, less than 5 minutes or done. Okay. Don't know what that means, but we'll look into that in a minute. I can customize my meals. This feels a little bit tight. Could do a little bit more padding around this to make this breathe a little bit more. Everything feels overly tight at the moment. And I guess this is also down to because the imagery's got so much going on in it, it's naturally going to feel busy. So you kind of need a little bit of room around things to breathe because of the quality, the quality of the image is brilliant. But we just have to bear that in mind. Okay, let's do lunch and breakfast. Quite like that. Quite like the reference to all this. That's quite nice. This is nice for accordions because we can get loads of additional content in there. Image really well thought through. Obviously all of this imagery is either taken or superimposed together really, really nicely. More credibility building, Yeah, I feel like this is the strongest homepage we've probably had, in all honesty, from a desktop point of view. So let's get started. Again, nice already. This feels far more set up for desktop. It's nice to show these things on the left-hand side. It's nice to see I can personalize. This is a nice little touch. As I scroll down, this completion bar starts to fill in. Yeah, sure. Mediterranean. Oh, it's no good one. Okay, keto. Don't know what that is, but okay. Let's avoid some dairy then. So this automatically feels healthier, right? How many people are on the table? 3 dinners. Now, I don't really want to sign up, but at least on this one, I placed my order at the end. So let's just create an account and we'll see. So I will briefly cut the video and then we'll pop back and I'll go, ta-da! Welcome back. Seamless, I think you'll agree. So yeah, we're straight in now and I get to select my meals, which is quite nice. Again, probably the best one that's really actually feels laid out for a desktop now. I can see some of the information on it. I can see the photos, what happens when I click into one. So again, it's kind of imagery in the middle, which is fine. I have to then a secondary click, which has opened up a whole new tab to explain the food, which feels a little bit random, but I appreciate there's a lot of information on here. So it's nice that it's referencing how to cook it. It's referencing what I actually get in my bag individually, which is quite nice. Shows all the individual breakdowns. Shows the macros, which we've not really seen necessarily on the other ones, or I just didn't notice. Servings, how long is it going to take? That's quite nice, right? And then little plus. I feel like that plus could stand out more, but yeah, overall quite cool. Let's just randomly select some things, see what happens. Continue. Great. Okay. And then I get to an order, fill in some basic information. It's like American websites seem to always do this. Like their payment page is always terrible compared to ours, but possibly a little mean. Apologies for anyone I've just offended. But yeah, okay. First delivery discount, second delivery, that's quite nice. It shows you information, the information's on there. I think this is pretty good, right? I feel like this is definitely better than HelloFresh. I think the overall appearance is better. Gusto did have some really nice touches. I still think Gusto's done the best probably in building credibility, but the overall feel of this one is better. Usability felt pretty good, right? Credibility feels really nice, although we're not necessarily got quite, I know we've got these references, but we've not got quite the number of views or number of million of meals that they've made that we could be losing out on. Quality of the imagery and the content feels really good. I'm kind of somewhere between a B and an A, and I'm gonna go with an A. Let's go with an A. Okay, next one. Okay, Purple Carrot. Let's give this one a go then, shall we? So Purple Carrot is another one, again, hadn't heard of, found them for this video. It's a better designed image, right? Like that image has clearly either been taken off Photoshop for this particular use. Feels quite nice. Good food lives here. Explore the best of plant-based. I'm not gonna lie, this guys, I love my meat, but we'll give it a go for science. Cancel now. So we don't have any reference to how much it costs up front. Okay, there's just some information further down. Oh, okay, so I can get meal kits or ready meals. So that's quite a nice way of separating it out. This feels random. That feels like a waste of space. I guess it's meant to show the number of things that in the background have gone into that meal, I guess. It's random. Newbie, we've got a code. Okay, so we don't have any huge credibility building. There's probably not a lot there. Let's go start now. So I have to immediately sign up, which is annoying. So again, let's sign up with the use of magic here to briefly pause the video. And we're back. And I've immediately been taken into this where I have not referenced any meals. I have to customize, I have to pay. This ain't good. Well, it's not good for the point of this video, but I feel like the website's not done enough to really showcase the meals to me, the type of meals I can get, what I can have, the reasons. I didn't even know the price until I got to here. I don't know the price per, I'm gonna have to work all this out. It doesn't even show me the individual price. I mean, this is like an F. This ain't great. Let's be perfectly honest. Let's just bang that straight into the F. Purple Carrot, sorry guys, failed. Okay, Green Chef. Let's have a look at this. This again feels very much set up for a mobile. Everything is scaled up. It feels really weirdly spaced out for a desktop, but it's nice at least that they're visually showing vegan, vegetarian, low carb, etc. It's quite nice. We're showing the control of meal times. Again, it's interesting that this text is quite hard to read. Eat healthy my way. Not a great opening title personally. And it's referencing the amount of money off, but doesn't really tell me how much per meal. I feel like Gusto probably does that best. This is nice. I at least get to see some of those meals, and I can flick through these. Yeah, much better understanding of potentially what I can see, and I can see the full menu, and I can get 40% off. Okay. Not a lot else there. Let's get this offer, guys. See what happens. Okay, so cool. So I can at least pick my meals. Finally, with another website that's finally showing me price per serving, because I wasn't getting that before. The last couple, which feels really random and not to include. And then I have to get started. And then again, I can see at the top here that I have to go through the plan. I have to register. I have to put my address in. I have to pay before I can then pick my meals. And again, it feels like really backwards that I've not been able to see the quality of the meal first before I would even enter to this, which instantly makes me not want to go any further with this. Fully flexible subscription. These are quite nice from a benefits point of view. It's a little bit better thought out. At least this is showing this at the top to see, and I'm constantly getting reference how much I can save. We're not going to go through address, we're not going to go through payment just to pick some meals. So, I mean, E, probably a little harsh, but there we go. Now the last one, guys, Mindful Chef. So let's have a quick look through this one. So again, at least feels a little bit more set up for a desktop, a little bit of interaction there, which is quite nice. Worked wonders to reduce ultra-processed foods. This will change your health and diet. So that's quite a nice opening title. Discover the UK's #1 rated recipe box. Interesting to see how that's different. Oh, this is nice. No one else has bothered to do this. No one else is referencing the difference. And I quite like these sort of things. A lot of people shy away from this. recipes. If you can show your company in a really positive light compared to your competitors, because at the end of the day, they are going to be looking at your competitors. It's kind of like going, oh, well, we don't want to reference them in case they've not heard of them. It's like, let's reference them and talk about why we're better. So this is really quite nice. And we're referencing, we're coming at it from a point of view of being healthy, right? So that's quite nice. This is great, 30 million meals, again, credibility building. We've only really had that on the Gousto one. It's nice, again, that I can see the meals. So instantly I feel better about this one, right? I get to choose the recipes. A nice way of showing me how it works. Let's get rid of that. It's also nice to see that they've donated all those meals. That makes me feel good. And they're referencing other things here. So this does feel much better. Overall design feels fairly good. Feels a little bit old school, I'd probably say, but overall quite nice. And then choose our recipes. Let's do this. Let's see what happens. So shock horror, I actually get to pick my recipes rather than going straight through and buying, which is better. Let's have a look at these. So I can see the ingredients. I get to see one photo, some indications. I can see the macros in here, which is nice. It's really simple to understand them. It's showing me the overall rating of it. That works really nicely. So let's just randomly add these to box. Lots on there, lots of recipes, which is cool. Shows me this follows me down the page, sticky, which is quite nice. And then if I'm new, it's showing me the delivery process I'm going to run through. It's breaking down my prices. It's already applied that. It feels pretty nice. This is nice as well. So it's like, oh, just in case you are concerned, don't worry. I'm going to run through all this information with you. I think that's really nice as well. So let's compare it to my list. So overall usability, I think, has been pretty good, right? I really quite like that. I think it's been fairly easy to work with. There's an argument that the Gousto one was probably slightly better. Feeling credibility, I think this one has done what Gusto's the only other one that's done this particularly well, but Mindful Chef's at least shown us logos. There's lots of things for us to run off there, so I think that's worked really well. Quality of the imagery and content seems pretty good. Probably just because it's better designed for desktop, it's easier to probably say that. Overall appearance or UI, it's better designed for a desktop, right? I just feel like Gusto's is very much set up just for that. I know I keep referencing Gousto, but it's probably the closest one to come back to. So I'm going to give this an A. I'm going to give this an A, guys. I almost don't want to give it an A because I'm already with Gousto. And as I said at the start of this video, whichever one had the best one, I would switch to, and it's just easier if I don't have to switch. But I'm going to be a man of my word. I'm going to switch to Mindful Chef. Now I can't switch to Sunbasket because it's an American company and we're in the UK, so I'm going to switch to Mindful Chef as I have said because I promised to. Those are my tierings. I hope you find that useful. We're going to have more videos like this where we're going to be grading different styles of sites, so if you want to check out one of our previous ones, you can check that out over here, and if not, I'll see you next week.